Hello, and thank you very much, Jurgen, for being here with me now. Could you start off by telling us who you are and where you work?
Yes, my name is Jurgen Stockbroekx. I am the Vendor Financial Services Manager for Europe, dealing with the accounts payable departments all over Europe. And I work for the company Sabic, which is Saudi Basic Industries Companies, of which the mother company is based in Riyadh. And we have a local headquarters office in the Netherlands.
And you have been part of rolling out a global procure-to-pay solution and process. Could you tell us about what that consists of? Yes.
So actually there is a need within the company for having a one unified platform that involves procurement, but also in the paying of the invoices. If you look in the past, we are lacking actually transparency in our procurement process, and we are not able to leverage our purchasing power. Sabic is a global company who invests about $16 billion on a yearly basis, and the whole idea is around if we only can manage 1% of purchasing power, that will benefit the company of 160 million. On the other side, on the payable side, what we said is okay, we have very many different accounts payable platforms, which are actually not consistent with each other. We have one vendor set up in 7 different accounts payable systems, and we are also lacking the spend of those vendors in one uniform report, which actually makes it very difficult to leverage the information that we are where we are the owner of. Therefore, it was decided to have one accounts payable platform as well, but with multiple options. So we don't believe in one unified invoice channel. What we would like to do to our vendors is we offer them multiple channels, and we have the traditional e-invoicing. We have the traditional PDF e-email invoice. We have the traditional invoice hard copy, and now we have the digital invoice channels like the P-card, a purchasing card, which is used for vendors with small quantities in value, but multiple or big volumes in transactions. We have the e-invoicing, so digitization of the invoice by having a third service provider who converts the information from the vendor into the file format that we need on the Sabic receiving side. We have a vendor portal, which is new, whereby invoices are being submitted by the vendors onto the portal. And last but not least, we have also the evaluated receipt settlement, the ERS, which we consider to be as a kind of self-billing, whereby we do not expect vendors to send us an invoice, but whereby we send the vendor a credit memo and we will tell them that this is the amount we will pay. So we actually eliminate the whole invoicing process.
How have you been working with the sort of first side of the process, the procurement side, in order to capture spend early? How have you configured that?
Actually, the way we have managed to do that is that we have one global master data management tool, whereby each vendor is only set up once, and these vendors can be allocated to the different company codes in the various systems once we have rolled it out. That means that if I am in Japan and I buy, for instance, engines for a factory, then that same vendor can also be assigned to the Mexico, where they buy the same engines. And by setting up not only consistent master data on vendor level, but also on material items, material numbers, you can actually measure how many of these engines are being sold worldwide. And all that information can be pulled into one database, whereby you can actually run the spend reporting. So you can see which vendor is being sold from or purchased from in the region of Pacific, Americas. You can all have the slices and dices, the displays, views the way you want. With having consistent material numbers, you can exactly pinpoint, okay, this engine has been sold or has been purchased so many times in each of the regions. and that will actually leverage the purchasing power we are lacking today.
Have you had a great cooperation between the different functions across your organization?
Absolutely. There is a big need, especially when you look at the target settings in the coming years and the savings we need to realize. I mean, not having a system enabler will not help us to where we need to be. And I think also procurement has definitely understood that they can only manage those targets when they have an integrated and uniformed system. Moreover, I would also highlight that when we look at working capital of Sabic, having one vendor today in multiple systems set up with different payment terms, although it's the same vendor, will allow us to actually synchronize and get the best payment term in all of the regions. Because today I get, for instance, 30 days net of month in Japan, and in Europe I get 60 days end of month with the same vendor. So having that transparency will actually also help me or procurement to discuss these most favored payment terms going forward.
Have you seen any difference in your measures and your reporting data so far?
Absolutely. When we started the project in July 25th, when we went live on 2012, we saw that we rose our first pass yield, our automation rate, from a 12% to 50% nowadays, which is an improvement of almost 400% and more. We saw the payment on time rate increase from 79 in 2010 till 91% in 2014. There is no backlog on invoices anymore. So in the past we used to have on a daily basis, when the business was closed, a backlog of 3,000 invoices. Nowadays we don't have any backlog anymore, so the inbox is empty, and that also has some repercussions for the workforce, because due to that we also were able to downsize our workforce substantially. Nowadays I think we already build off 30% of the workforce.
And what's happening forward? If you look forward 1 to 5 years, what are you going to do?
Yeah, one of the things we want to leverage more is our vendor portal. Although it is not common in many places around the world, we want to onboard more of these vendors using one unified vendor portal. And the advantage of the vendor portal is that actually we eliminate the invoice issue resolution, because you cannot go to the portal and submit your invoices unless preconditions have been met, like PO has been approved, the goods receipt has been booked, and only then the system will allow you to submit your invoice, which is actually the opposite of what we do today, in the past, whereby you send the invoice, done, there is no PO, it blocks, we send it back, and by doing so we believe that using the portal more and more will help us in reaching even higher level targets. So,
well, I wish you the best of luck with that, and hope that you achieve all the goals that you've set up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.